Good afternoon. I'm PJ Barney, and I'm going to teach you how to close a Papa John's. One of the things I've been told working at Papa John's is that my life was going nowhere. I needed a better job. I was lazy, and that's why I chose that place. Well, you're wrong. And today I'm going to teach you step by step how to close a Papa John's and show you what actually goes into my position and the manager's position when we work there. As a manager, one of the top things we learned how to do was delegate, which is why people called us lazy, because we didn't always do it ourselves. But according to Unconventional Guide on How to Run a Small Business, delegating is the #1 thing a manager should learn how to do when they first start training for that spot. Remember, as a manager, you're responsible to make sure everything is done in a timely manner so that you can close the store on time and that everything is finished before you let your employees go home. As stated in the Papa John's Employee Handbook, it's up to you to know every job in that store, just in case you send somebody home or something happens before they finish their job, because then it falls on you. You need to know every job below you, which makes sense. It helps the store run smoothly. Now we're going to move on to step 1, cleaning. Make sure everything in the store is clean and free of dustinator, which is the flour-like substance we use to keep the dough from sticking to everything. That stuff will get everywhere. What you're going to want to do is start with the tops of the tables, brush everything down, work your way to the floor. Don't worry about making a mess on the floor because you're going to clean that again later. You're going to want to make sure the make line has no food debris and all the metals have been washed. You're going to want to make sure that your slab station and make line aren't sticky. Do not use a wet rag. Make sure your phone area and your till area, where we keep the money, are clean and free of dustinator. The screens have been wiped off and all the phones are clean so that people aren't coming in the morning for the morning shift and picking up sticky and nasty phones. You're going to want to make sure that the cut station and the ovens are also clean. Any pizzas that were burnt onto the ovens, any oils that were splashed from cutting the pizzas, and any ingredients that might have happened or a pizza might have fallen over, make sure that's all cleaned up. Again, throw it on the floor. You're going to end up sweeping and mopping the floor 2 to 3 times, so you might as well go ahead with it now. Step 2, counting your inventory. First thing you're going to want to do is move into the back of the store and count all your boxes and dry goods. This includes your bottles of soda that aren't yet up front in the Pepsi cooler. Make sure you keep an accurate number of those and the boxes in the back. Then we'll move up to the walk-in and count your perishables, your cheeses, your meats, and your sauces. Make sure you're right on the money and that you're actually checking, because you're going to have to throw away and note spoiled food. It also helps if you keep accurate records, because a box of cheese costs about $140 to $200, depending on if your company or franchise, and you don't want to be paying that out of your paycheck. Then you're going to walk up to the front of the store. You're going to count the Pepsi cooler and the boxes up front. You're going to add those to the numbers you got in the back and make sure that it equals the total number that you had for the day. Most of the time you'll be off a few boxes. They do rip. They're not the best things in the world. And sometimes you'll be off soda. That's usually from employees taking it and drinking it without paying for it. Step 3, close your carryouts. At 10 o'clock, Papa John stops serving carryouts. They might give you till 10:15, 10:30, depending on who the general manager is on shift that night. But what you're going to want to do is make sure you close all the remaining carryouts in the POS system. Make sure you have no orders set that aren't for delivery or online delivery. Lock your doors and turn off all your lights that are hanging in the windows. Nothing says we're open like an unlocked door and neon flashing lights that say fresh pizza and open. Make sure you unassign the tills that you're not using any longer. That way you're not short money and you don't know where it went. Which brings us to step 4, making your store cash for deposit. Count all the coins in your one assigned till and add that number to the coins in the safe. If it ends in 0.01 to 0.49, round down to $5.99. If it ends in 0.50 to $1, round it up to 600. Subtract the total from your coins from that total number you got and use that to add your ones, which are going to go into stacks of 50, and your fives, which are going to go into stacks of 100. And with those, you'll make up for the difference, of course, breaking the stacks if you need to. You're also going to want to take your 10s and 20s and 50s and 100s if you got them, and those are going to be added separately and put straight in the deposit. That's extra money and has nothing to do with the tills that will be used for opening in the morning. Put them all in the black bag and make sure you know which ones are going for deposit and which ones are stored earnings for the night. Put it in the safe, but do not lock the safe yet because we're not done. At this point, you should be sitting down at the chair at the safe and be able to just swivel yourself right to the computer. You're going to want to launch your profit system, post your inventory, make sure you keep accurate numbers. Don't screw up the numbers just to make yourself look good. It'll come back to you later, and odds are you'll get jail time for it. Relaunch the profit in a separate window and post your deposit numbers. You're going to want to put the deposit bag number that you're using, the deposit slip number you're using, and you're going to want to write the actual amounts on the deposit slip. If you have to, recount the money to make sure you're on point. You do not want to be off with that money because that, again, will come out of you. Press F10 to save, and now you're done with that. According to a Pizza Marketplace article, 6 things that'll destroy a business, the #1 destroyer of businesses is poor money handling and poor money management. You can probably tell why. Without money, you can't really run a business because you got to spend money to make money. Step 6 is everything else. Make sure, as you were doing everything that you delegated was done, and you can now set the store back up for the morning, mopping up front and back to back as you go. You're going to want to set up the make line, the phones, and the oven with all the tools on it so that they have everything properly set up in the morning for when they need it. Once this is done, you can turn off all the lights, make sure your ovens are off, make sure your computer's shut down, make sure the safe is locked, and make sure the phones are kind of tilted off the hook. Only because you do not want homeless people hearing the phone ring and trying to go in. We have had people break into our store when they heard the phone ring thinking we were still open, which I guess depends on your store. And now you're free to go. You can make sure, once again, the lights are off, double check the safe, walk out and lock the door behind you, and you've successfully closed a Papa John's. I hope this has taught you everything that goes into closing a Papa John's, step by step. You might not get the full picture, but I hope this helps you decide that next time you order pizza, you're not going to yell at the manager because he's a little bit overwhelmed.